Welcome back to Overdunk, everybody, your favorite competitive Pokemon UNITE podcast. This is episode 90, and I can't believe we got even bigger news than we did last week, or literally on the dawn of UCS. Well, now we're in the thick of it, and we got the brackets, and it's insane. I can't wait to get into it. I am your host, Zoinks, as per usual, and as always, I am joined by my two best friends in the entire world. I will rank them right now in the order that I want them to introduce themselves. Dubesnix, can you please tell me, how have you been? How's your last week in Unite been? And how pumped are you for top 8 UCS this upcoming weekend?
Incredibly pumped, even more pumped with the new news. We'll discuss the minor bad edge to this, but the big kind of overall W that it ends up being for the rest of the season. Of course, too, we've got some housekeeping stuff for those of you that showed up a few moments early. And here we go. I'm excited. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Obviously, Bridget, how have you been? How's the last week been? Were you able to, you didn't play in qualifiers, did you? But were you able to at least catch any of the qualifiers worldwide last weekend?
Yeah, I'm still recovering from Zoinks burning either Dubesnax or I off rip at the beginning of every podcast, but I was traveling this weekend, so I couldn't really hardcore watch a ton of the games, but I tried to pop into Spriggle stream when I could, and then I was on Atlantic time, which is an hour ahead of Eastern time.
Oh, wow.
Didn't even know that time zone existed, but it does in Puerto Rico.
Where were you?
In Puerto Rico for my friend's bachelorette, which was very fun. But so I was up kind of late watching the conclusion of Pool 1 with LG and YT, and I'm kind of glad I stayed up because they were both crazy games. So I was able to watch a little bit, but cool. Not as much as I will be this weekend, or opposite, whatever.
Sick. Oh my gosh. Thank you very much. Of course, what a better way to start this episode than a gigantic raid from Spraggles raiding us dorks. So thank you. Thank you so much, Spraggles, for the mighty raid. I can't wait to hang out with you this weekend. It's going to be so lit. Gosh, this event is going to be so sick. But Dubesnax, before we even really get into this episode, you had some housekeeping stuff that we wanted to take care of on the Unite Mike's channel. So what's the cool announcement we got for you, for everybody?
The cool announcement is I got notification today that the shirts have shipped, and I should get them in 3 to 7 days. So next week, hopefully, probably I'm going to give myself a little bit of an opportunity to get everything packaged up, put together. End of next week, beginning of following, it should be shipped out. The shirts should be shipped out. So be on the lookout, my friends.
Awesome. That's and of course, the shirts that Dubesnax is referring to is the Hundo Burger t-shirts we have designed by Neo Cloudbuster for the channel, and all of you were amazing in supporting that effort because it allowed us to increase our Unite Mike's tournament before the season began up to a prize pool of $750. So thank you everybody for your support, and I can't wait. Honestly, I can't wait to get my hands on my shirt because it's such a cool shirt. So thank you Dubesnax for getting all that taken care of. I literally cannot wait. But all right. We gotta get into it, though. Obviously, the UCS qualifiers happened worldwide just last weekend. Spraggles, Dubesnax, and I were casting for many, many hours. I think the stream ended up being like 16 hours in total. We tried to take on both EU and NA. We almost made it to the very end of North America, but I think we kind of called it after the winner's bracket side of NA finished up. But either way, it was a very eventful day of games. We saw some really interesting meta stuff, some new teams emerge, some kind of old faces show back up and perform extremely well, some really high seeds not perform to the level that we were expecting. Very typical first month stuff, but still, it is so exciting and so fun. So I had an absolute blast. Bridget, you were already talking about how you got to watch some of it. Dubesnax, you got to cast a bunch of it. How are you feeling about the first kind of showcase of the Unite Championship Series for Season 3? Is it exciting? Are teams leveled up? Where are we at?
You know, I was excited. So we started off the stream super early. I actually had some family scheduling in the mid-afternoon, so I actually left around 6.5 hours in. I came back after putting my daughter to bed at 9. And then I stayed up till 3 because after we stopped, I literally messaged Ender and saw that he was still watching the event. I was like, get me on. I want to keep talking about Unite, dude, please. And he was like, hell yeah, come on. So I immediately jumped from Spraggle's stream to Ender's stream to finish out NA. And then I went over to Muck's stream and got into some games with Muck because I was just like humming. I was so excited. I was like, I cannot shut it down right now. I was so gassed up. So yeah, I'm excited. All that to say, I'm excited.
Okay, good. Well, I am right there with you. The emotions are extremely high. I cannot wait to see how these tournaments conclude in the top 8 brackets that are going to be happening soon. And there was a bunch of storyline developments and everything that happened. So for viewers or listeners, if you weren't able to catch any of the qualifier streams, we'll definitely be talking about kind of the biggest moments of that broadcast throughout this episode. But I feel like the most important thing that we got to talk about on this episode, we got to get this out right at the beginning, is that the bracket format has changed for this year, or at least for this tournament, in a major way. Last year and the year prior, if you were able to make it into the top 8 or top 16 for some events, through the qualifiers, you were reseeded and the bracket was restructured. Well, that has been taken away now, and now the new bracket reflects the new rules. If you make it through the open qualifiers on the winner's side of the bracket, you will begin the top 8 in winner's side. If you qualify through the loser's bracket side, you will start the tournament in the loser's bracket, meaning you don't have that double elimination benefit. Every single match is win or go home, which is a huge change. I think there's going to be some mixed opinions across the board. However, I will begin. I love it. I think this change is absolutely stellar. I think for a few reasons. I think that now it is a true continuation of the qualifiers tournament. We're now looking at a tournament that is basically just being taken place on 2 different days. So the qualifier will just lead into the top 8 as if we were finishing out a whole top 8 or a whole double elimination bracket. So 1, I love it for that. 2, I think this rewards teams for making it through the winner's bracket way more than we were ever able to last year. Outside of just having the normal benefit of seeding, now you actually are playing up against teams who are lossless to start your bracket run, and then you have the chance to lose a game and go down to the loser's bracket against teams with the same record as you, which I think is really important. So a big change there as well. Those are the 2 reasons I really enjoy it and think it's interesting. But I want to hear your 2 opinions. Deuce X, we were just talking to you about it a minute ago, so let's get Bridget's opinion first. Bridget, how are you feeling about this big change?
I think it's a good thing. I'm surprised by how surprised I am that we hadn't been doing this before. I'm like, I feel like this just makes so much more sense.
Yes.
Like, after seeing it, I'm like, oh, why did we totally reseed? And I think we were talking beforehand, but I feel like the top 4 teams usually win those matches out anyway, so it's kind of just speeding up, I feel like, the top 8 process, which is a good thing. I think overall it just makes way more sense to me.
Okay, Deuce Next, how about you?
Yeah, again, like competitive integrity wise, it's actually what we should have always been doing, kind of to Bridget's point. To tackle Ripto Jr. less games overall, we were only watching the top 4, the last 4 games anyways. So yeah, technically, in what you actually get to see, it's the same amount. But my point is going to be this, is if we're doing this, which is awesome, we need to find out how to broadcast every single one of these games.
Yes.
That is like, it's even more crucial now because, you know, like, for example, if we're using, you know, the announcement went out today, is I'll be on broadcast for this weekend, and even we haven't seen the exact schedule because the brackets came out after all that, whatever. But currently, if it follows the same cadence as last year, like, we are missing LG YouTube, which is a myth. You know, from a broadcast standpoint, from a storytelling standpoint, that's a miss.
Yeah.
So that is kind of, to me, the rough end of the double-edged sword. But everything else moving forward is a positive. And you better believe that you know, myself, Zoinks, Spraggles, Chef, will be bringing that feedback with us before broadcast this weekend to figure out if logistically we can get the rest of these games in, because I know I don't want to miss any of these games, and I know we're going to be sitting there watching them anyways, because that's just what we do. Like when I have like 2 minutes on broadcast, we're checking literally like the other broadcasts. Like as we're doing EU, typically NA has like the tail end of EU, NA has already started, so we're trying to like check into like, you know, Chris Hero's stream or whoever's covering it and trying to get update, and we're like, oh Jesus, you know, as the whole thing's going on. Well, man, wouldn't it be cool if we could just bring that to everybody? So that's my 2 cents on it.
So just a fine place to do this now. Of course, please tune into the main broadcast and support the Pokemon UNITE Championship Series, but you also have the option to take a look at some other people who are putting on some great broadcasts as well to try to cover those extra games. I mean, Chris Hero's obviously a perennial favorite for a lot of people to turn into. Sneaky Seal, of course, shows up every tournament and puts on an amazing broadcast. Bridget, I heard you're potentially working with them too, to be doing something like that. So there will be places to take a look at these games. But before we actually dive deeper into this, I already have it pulled up on screen, but just in case podcast listeners weren't able to see the visual, that's right, Doobsnacks already mentioned it, but the broadcast talent is going to be Doobsnacks, me, Spraggles, and Wonder Chef will be on air for the English coverage of EU and North America. Of course, there's some incredible talent working the Brazil broadcast and the Latin America North and South broadcast. Brazil will, of course, be in Portuguese, and Latin America, both North and South, will be in Spanish, but going to be some amazing broadcasts across the board. I personally can't wait to watch a lot of them. Brazil looks very interesting. LATAM North looks lit. I love those teams down there in LATAM North right now. So definitely a squad that I'm going to be looking at. But let's talk about this. Now, I think that we need to address a chat talking about this a lot. I mean, Spraggles has said it. That guy has said it. A few people have mentioned it. Players will hate this. Now, I think there is the potential for that. However, I think that players, if you truly do hate this format, I'm sorry, I have no sympathy for you. This format rewards winning more than ever. That is something that we should be happy and celebrate. Yes. If you are a player and you are bummed that you lost and then want to reset your bracket score, it's kind of cringe. Like, man, I get it.
It's almost like, dude, it's almost like getting top 8 and then not wanting to compete in top 8 because you're like 7th seed, but like you'll give up like money, CP, and a chance to spike the event to go to Worlds to go try and compete against weaker players because you think you arbitrarily get a better opportunity there. Man, it's almost like complaining about being just good enough but not the best, and then wanting to waffle into the direction that best serves your need. Whoa, crazy, man. Ooh. Whatever. You're 100% right. You're 100% right. Yeah. Like, if you don't want to struggle through a loser's bracket, win your games. And if you're not down with having to fight in the loser's bracket, give your spot to somebody else that's willing to fight for it. You know what I mean? That's like, let's get some gamers out here. What Absolutely. Is that? Like, what are we doing? I thought they were competitors.
Now,
like, this is crazy.
But I want to put a stop out there just for a second. Is I actually haven't seen any players be super upset about it. Like, I actually have not seen a post. I'm sure I will. I'm sure I will see tweets or Discord rage moments or something like that. However, at this point in time, I want to be a little bit more fair to the players. However, I'm not really going to give the benefit of the doubt. But I do think many of them have not been, like, mad about it yet. But it might be coming. However, I saw Pierre already in chat saying that they really enjoyed it. Now, Pierre, let me remind you, are on the winner side of the bracket, so I'm sure you would. But also, I've seen some people in chat talking about LG and news with them, and of course we are absolutely going to talk about them when we get more in depth with North America. Maybe we actually start with North America because maybe that's the bigger news, is that role transition and stuff. So Bridget, is there anything more you wanted to mention about the restructuring of the top 8 format, or do you want to jump into region specific talk?
Let's get into it. I'm ready.
Sick pure. Yeah, that is another benefit. Obviously, if you are on winner side, you are guaranteed top 6. You cannot get 7th, 8th at that spot, which is interesting. But do next, yeah.
Yeah, we have a little piece of housekeeping. Big Bridge. Why don't you tell us about that Twitter switch up, my friend?
Why are you doing this now?
No. Please drop the details. This is the most important news we have all day. Bridget, what's the Twitter at?
I changed my Twitter handle because Juvesnacks has been berating me constantly, day in and day out, about an underscore. Because, you know, not all of us have unique, crazy
In my
names.
defense, it was twice.
Okay, I feel like it's been mentioned multiple times on this podcast.
It's because Psyche pulled up for the smoke. Psyche in the Twitter thread, she pulled up the smoke. I dipped. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, you just stir the pot and then leave.
Yeah.
Is that better? I don't know. So I am now Big Bridget on Twitter, which I don't like saying out loud, but it is what it is.
It's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
yeah, it's good. It's
Oh
good.
my God.
So no more underscore.
Yeah.
I'm free.
We did it.
Oh, and podcast listeners, I'm sorry to keep having to talk to you specifically, but you can't see the chat, of course, since you're not watching live. But I love this. Pure saying, "I'm here for free top 6," and then chat defending him, being like, "Well, it wasn't free. You earned it via qualifiers." Which, yeah, that's how it works. So shout out to reminding everyone that yes, absolutely. That's how it
And
works.
because they're in chat, another person that I called out in person for how corny their Twitter handle was, I was like, it was can't stop them. I was like, how are you not can't stop them on? And I literally like pulled up Twitter Picker online or whatever that thing is, and I looked it up, and I was like, no, it's Name Checker. That's what the site is called, Name Checker. And I was like, can't stop them is available. Like, what are you doing, bro? And he was like, but I'm Cole Kalisna, whatever is it's like Keister, right? Keister, whatever. Doesn't matter. But I was like, Cole, come on. And he was like, okay. And I made him do it right there in the bar.
Yeah, we were there. Bridget and I were actually there at the table. It was rough.
You made him do it like immediately, like on site.
Yeah, it was playing that noise. I'm not doxing CSE. His full name was literally his Twitter handle. And even had numbers at the end, I think. Like it was Looney Tunes.
Numbers? Oh, God.
All right.
No.
Okay, let's talk about this bracket.
Well, let's talk about the North America region in general. And I think the best way to start describing this is if we start talking about the open qualifiers for North America. So obviously, it was a region that had a lot of hype going into it. We are now North America. I say we're all residents of North America, but North America, our region, has now won the World Championships 2 times in a row. But notably, it's always been kind of regarded as a region where there are a couple of top teams, but literally anybody can take games off of each other. Well, felt like that was quite true this last weekend. GT putting on an incredible performance, something that we all knew they were capable of, but actually sent Luminosity Gaming down to the losers bracket. And then the wild thing happened, and Luminosity Gaming lost their winning in losers bracket to a team named RAQ. Now, there was a lot of talk about this on Twitter and everything. Of course, Luminosity Gaming was extremely upset. The players took it rather well, though. Like, I mean, there was some good there was some like good posts on Twitter and social media and things like that. But then all of a sudden, we got the news that Team RAQ would not be participating in the top 8 bracket, and therefore Luminosity Gaming will qualify. Now, before people start losing their minds, and I'm sorry, I do want to get your 2 opinion on this, but I want to just give the full scope of context here for what's happening. Before people start losing their minds, Luminosity Gaming gets all the favor, blah, 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 like whatever they want to scream about social media, there's 2 different, like, qualifier in-rule reasons why LG would be the team chosen. One, historically, it has always been the team, if a team cannot participate, they go down the bracket following that thread. So if the team that they beat can make it, then they will attend, and so forth, which, for Luminosity Gaming, would qualify them. Even if they wanted to go off of seeding, Luminosity Gaming was the number 1 seeded team in the bracket, except the most championship points last year. So even if they took all the 9th place teams, they would have been the highest seeded team, and so they're qualified. I don't understand why people were raging in the first place. For some reason, Brazil is super mad. I don't know the details, but apparently Brazil hates LG. I don't know, but it is crazy. Just go look at the quote retweets on any of the LG crew. They are not fans. But anyways, this was kind of bizarre and wild to see. But Deuce Next, I know that you got to actually watch that game because you were watching on some other people's streams. Thoughts on LG finishing 9th in the open qualifiers and making it into bracket? Well, the first part first.
Yeah, so watching the games, so that's when I was on Ender's stream. Watching the games was insane. Especially because not in a casting sense, we were just kind of like, watch partying, if you will. So
Sure.
we weren't like actually casting anything, we were just talking about it. But going through, they win the first game handedly. They win the second game, and then they lose Ray.
Okay.
They grab a bunch of shields, they back score, and then it's like they fell asleep at the wheel in the weirdest way possible. Like there was like I hope I'm not misremembering this, but it was like a bot push, and they already had like Zug covering top, but Curios was like fading behind the pad, like doing that like reset move stall thing, so you can like get back to base, right? Always have your reset up. But like they were dying in the bottom path on their pad, and then by the time Curios pulled up, the whole team pivoted to top pad, so Zug was gone. And then like Slash jumps in right into a fairy singularity, and then that goal zone's gone. And then me and Inter were like, oh no, like this is awful. And then they score in the home goal zone. So that game was like, okay, that was wild.
Right.
Game 3, the same thing happens. They're winning. And their tree player, whose name is completely escaping me, I have it written down, and I want to make sure I get this right because they played absolutely crazy. FaZe Haru.
Haru, yeah.
Haru played out of their gourd. Was probably like the shining beacon of that team.
Sick.
LG gets mispositioned, right? They get a catch on Hoopa, so now they're in a rip potential. And like the best thing they could have done is probably just finish Ray. But then everybody pivots to do weird engagements. FaZe ejects over the wall, wood hammers, horn leeches, wood hammers, unites, and JB is gone without hitting their unite move. And then Curious fires off their unite move. The damage is already done. They kind of got stun locked down into the path. They're gone. And then it was pandemonium. It was like just everybody like crap their pants simultaneously. Like it was like this RAQ hit the brown note and LG just
Great.
Yeah, it was, I mean, watch it, facts. It was just wild to watch. It was wild to watch. So all that to be said, bummer that Rack can't be there, whatever that reason is. I believe it's just a non-nefarious reason that they can't actively participate.
Let's share that too, because so Doomsex and I, we aren't really privy to very much background information as much as we'd like to be. However, the official reason why Rack has not been able to participate is literally they just can't participate. I believe the team has stated that they just really didn't think that they would make it that far and don't have next weekend free. So Rack basically drew back. So yeah.
NA doing cringe NA competitive things again. But anyways, so them not getting to play is crazy. Obviously the LG plot armor is remains intact.
Yes.
Remains intact. I'm just super excited. I'm just super excited. I mean, watching those games, that this can transition us to the role swaps or whatever, and Slash's video, I guess. Bridge, did you watch Slash's video?
I watched most of it. Most of it was just like the VOD reviewing section, but yeah, I have heard, and you guys might be more privy to this than me, the rumblings of role swapping within LG. I'm not sure if they're actually gonna attempt that this weekend or... I don't know. I'm excited. I think they'll be in very interesting form. I think they'll be very hungry, so I'm excited to see what they're cooking.
So to that point, you probably heard Slash say he was wild. The stuff he was saying.
Okay, so let's clarify where this is and what's happened though. So to just kind of give the context here. this is before LG knew that they were in top 8. Slash
Correct.
put a video on their YouTube channel. It was over an hour long, and it was obviously it's coming right off of a loss, a very, very important tournament loss at the start of the season. Blah blah blah. So it's obviously emotions are running high. Slash has since deleted this video. So it's tough to know if the things that were said in the video are sticking true or not. We don't really want to go into like, I don't know, the ins and outs of everything Slash said, but like, let's just grab the important stuff. So, Doofslash, what do you think is the important information that came out of it?
Most important thing is the general. So I didn't think it was particularly like some of the stuff he said was goofy, but in context, and you know, as a competitor who obviously cares about winning, the stuff they were saying is not like irredeemably terrible by any stretch of the imagination. Not on my metric, anyways. And he was calling everybody out for essentially their misplays, which you know, back when I was traveling the United States for rugby, I did that same stuff too.
Sure.
You know, and he was also placing blame on himself, but you get a little over anxious because it's easier to analyze other people's deficits rather than your own in the moment, even though you're like very like aware to what your own stuff was. So that is one thing. The kid cares, which is great. And so does the rest of the team. But that essentially led to I don't know if it was an epiphany or they had it on the call after the event or coming back, but effectively, it was just a huge lack of comfort across all of them in their roles they were in.
Yes.
So kind of went into the history that, like, you know, LG after Worlds went after Zug because they thought the top lane meta, top path meta was going to stay defenders, right? Like solo defenders, blast, like always Blastoise, always Lapras, all this. So they said, Slash, you ball out on the defender characters. You're our tank player. We'll pick up Zug and then you can go top. Well, like 2 weeks after they made that roster change, Buzzwole becomes meta. Then it devolves into like Lucario Buzzwole, Blastoise sometimes. So then like all of a sudden, something that Slash is completely used to is now in deep waters and has to get like 400 games of Buzzwole in and 400 games of Lucario in, right? So now they're essentially fighting from way behind rather than this being a proactive switch. JB was having problems, you know, struggling. One of the things he called out was like, I don't think he stopped a meaningful Hoopa reset portal with an egg bomb all weekend. And it's like, that's your job. That's why you pick Blissey into Hoopa, because that's your, like, that is your number one priority. Stuff like that. And then, you know, the idea is like, well, JB played Central. And then lastly, it's Overlord's a phenomenal player in jungle, but they are the best top path player on the planet, like too, right? It's like they just are that. Yeah. And one of the things Slash called out was like, I went in here and I made this play. There is not a shot on Earth on any planet in existence that Overlord messes this play up like I did. He just wouldn't, because he knows like the different like limits of the characters, whatever, and he reads the situations better as a top path player rather than a rather than a tank player having switched to top that is just mechanically sound. So all of this stuff essentially leads to the following result: Zug on tank, Curios bot path attacker, so the bottom path stays the same.
Okay.
JB goes to central. Overlord to top, and then Slash back on support.
Okay.
And that's how all of that kind of shakes out.
Gotcha. So yeah, obviously, a lot to theorize about LG, because that was what was stated in the video. That's what they were intending to do.
Correct.
But the video was deleted, and now they made it into top 8. Do we have enough time and experience behind these players to role swap? Probably. But they're also in a loser's bracket position where they need to make things happen immediately. They don't have any wiggle room. Do they make that swap? Do they stick it out? I don't know. It's going to be crazy. But y'all, we've been going for almost 30 minutes now. It's probably time to switch over to the brackets. Sorry, chat, I did not update the commands. Maybe we'll do it after for any more Unite Mech streams in the future. But on StartGG, the brackets are uploaded for all of the top 8s of all of the regions. But here, let's transition on screen to our bracket. Thank you.
Same brain.
Same brain. Perfect. Thank you very much for posting that. But all right, here we go. This is our North American bracket. We talked a lot about NA, so I think we should just stick with NA to begin. And of course, if you're just tuning in, yes, winner side starts from qualifiers into winner side. If you qualified through losers, you start in losers, which of course is going to give us Luminosity versus Team YouTube first round. We talked so much about Team LG just now. I can't see us starting with any other game. Let's talk about the first elimination match of the day. Luminosity versus Team YouTube. Bridget, thoughts on this match?
This is so hype. Round one, this is crazy. So they were on they were in the same pools, right? Yeah, they both ended up in losers, and I want to say they both lost to Alter Ego.
Luminosity lost to GT, and then YT lost to Alter Ego.
I see. Yeah, so I know Luminosity and YT have been scrimming, or they were scrimming a lot leading up to UCS, and it was there were some scrims I watched where LG was beating them every single game, but YT looked in really good form on Saturday. They just seemed kind of locked in, and I feel like if they keep that energy, I think YT can win. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
It's so hard to say. It's so I'm drinking the YT juice, honestly. Dang. I thought they looked really good on Saturday.
Sick.
I was impressed, and I guess I didn't see as many LG games. I feel like really the only LG game I saw was like the one they lost, which is probably not a good representation, but definitely has me doubting a little. So we'll see.
Okay, sick. All right, Deuce next. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously sick. My, I guess for the sake of creating balance here, I'll swing the other way, simply because after the event ended, I was in Muck's chat and they were kind of listening. YT was breaking down LG's elimination game to Rack, and Phil Yumu said, essentially, man, what is this rock paper scissors we have in NA where we can never beat LG? We can never beat LG, but we always beat GT, and GT always beats LG, but they can never beat us. So that is like the like what Phil was calling kind of the triangle of rock paper scissors in NA, which thinking back makes a lot of sense, whether it's scrim stocks or other past events, and I thought that was a bit of a chuckle. So I'll say using Team YT's own analogy, maybe it's going to be tough for the scissors to overcome the rock here.
Oh, jeez. So now I'm in charge of a decision between Team Luminosity and Team YouTube. This is such a hard one. I mean, I am a notorious vote against Team YouTube kind of guy. I have been known to do this in many, many tournaments. However, which I love Team YouTube. I truly do. I think they got a little unlucky with this tournament format and having to go up against LG first round of the losers. Oh, okay. Let me make this clear. I think they can do this. And no matter how it shakes out, I think this game results in a 2-1. I don't think it's a landslide 2-0. However, I do think Luminosity has the edge. Obviously, they had an off tournament, some pretty severe communication problems in those final moments, like Doopsnax was recalling. But I am going to push LG past this one. So I'm going to move Luminosity. I'm going to put LG in this winner's side. And that means Team YT goes home in the first round. Oh, it hurts. That hurts. But okay. Yeah, chat, they're talking about that. All right, let's go with the next elimination game. Fixed versus Nemesis. This is an interesting one. Obviously, Nemesis and known quantity. I had them rated extremely highly last week, but they did take some losses throughout the bracket. They lost to Only Trolls, I believe, which I really want to know why that game happened. But Nemesis is a team I had a ton of stocks behind. However, Fixed, they made it all the way here to this bracket point, which we can't really take away from them. So what are we talking about these two squads? Any opinions? Deuce, next, I'll start with you.
I mean, first off, huge tip of the cap to Fixed. I know there's a lot of Flareon's Bats and Louis 7 fans. Those are the
Yeah.
players I'm most familiar with in here.
Mm-hmm.
And in
Mhm.
fact, the Flareon's is in the chat right now. So
Cool.
big shouts to Fix on an insane run.
Mhm.
And on the other side is kind of a retooled Nemesis with parts of Nemesis and ASU. That's a tough. I mean, you got to think of all the teams that broke up until LG slid back in. I was mentioning this earlier. ASU is the only kind of top team from last year that's split into two, with both teams making it through.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So that just speaks to the strength of those individual players coming together.
Yeah. Okay, so you're voting Team Nemesis then.
Okay, yeah, I do have to vote, eh?
I mean, not right
Yeah,
now. If you
kind
want to
of
hear
the
all of our
same.
points and then vote, I guess you're welcome to it. But also, apparently, Flareons didn't play. Okay, so Flareons was
yeah,
subbing
I knew
for Fixed.
I knew they
Interesting.
didn't play, but that is a name
I
that's
see, I see.
recognizable from Fixed,
For sure.
and I presume the goal is for them to play eventually.
Mm-hmm.
I have Flareon's name in chat staring at me right now.
I mean, you're gonna play. It would be an upset, right? We would have to call this an
Yeah.
upset if Fixed was able to take down Nemesis. So
I'm gonna take the cheap way out and say Nemesis because of Sableye.
oh, interesting. Okay, the rest call it.
That's my cheapskate way to slide without ever having to actually put any meaningful thought behind why I'm picking a team. There you go, bang.
There you go. Okay, I kind of like that. I'm not gonna lie. Bridget, Fixed versus Nemesis.
Definitely shout out to Fixed for getting top 8. I'm familiar with Russ. Russ is a demon. I played against them in like a league once, and their Wiggly was like unforgiving. I will never
interesting.
forget. I will never forget. So I know they're a bunch of demons, but I'm more familiar with Nemesis's game, and I feel like they kind of had proven themselves a little more in the like January off season, pre-UCS season. So, and they lost to Only Trolls, but they beat Only Trolls, I think, to make it in. So I feel like they're adaptable and, I don't know, seem to overcome. So I'm down for Nemesis.
Okay, yeah. I am sorry, Fix, I wasn't familiar with your game. Maybe Nemesis will be quote tweeting that out. But I take Nemesis here. Again, I just have them rated so highly. A player like Trainer, who I really just consider world's caliber, if I predict them to lose, I just really don't know what I believe in anymore. So I'm gonna put Nemesis forward and Fixed out here. Let's switch over to the winners bracket. GT, the LG Killers, the 2-time world champ Slayers, up against Alter Ego, a team that I think is absolutely sick. A very, very strong squad. I saw some people asking about Alter Ego. This is JL, Kratos, Machizzle. I think Joey's playing tank for them, right? And then who is their
Roland.
attacker? Oh, Roland. Yeah. Oh my gosh, who I think had one of the best tournaments I've ever seen from Roland.
Roland was
in qualifiers.
Spooky, dude.
Dude, he was unreal.
Demon.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't
Roland versus Stockings is going to be such a lit matchup. Oh my gosh. I think that's so sick.
I can't even weigh in on this one.
Yeah, this
I
one's really hard.
literally stack with all of these people.
Yeah.
Oh, bias. Ooh.
No, Roland is playing attacker for them. Yeah, but yeah. Maybe it's not Joey, it's Bloodline? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, you stack with all these people. Okay, so I haven't had a turn to vote first here. I have not had a turn to vote first. Alter Ego is a team I think so highly of, and I think they are extremely strong. However, GT defeating LG and just like, how many times have we seen GT enter tournaments like kind of already starting from behind? You know, they have to make big losers brackets. I wonder how much of the like benefit of being in winner's side and just having that confidence already will favor them. You know what I mean? I know I'm getting into a lot of intangibles here, and I'm like discrediting myself as an analyst already by what I'm saying so far. But I don't know. I'm liking Eggnoob's confidence to play stuff like Wiggly and get a little crazy with it. I think that OG is one of the best Leafeons in the entire world. I think I'm gonna go with GT over Alter Ego, which is insane. I have them Alter Ego ranked higher in my power rankings, I think, but I'm going on gut. I'm voting GT.
Yeah, these are honestly GT and Alter Ego are probably like my personal top 2 for this. So this
Dang.
also being
okay,
like one of the first games is
yeah.
nasty.
At least it's not an elimination game, but it's like it's good,
Yeah.
right? It's good.
Yeah. Man, it really could go either way. I think just depending on how they both come into Saturday, but
Yep.
I am feeling the GT vibes lately. I think they've been playing together for a while. I know a lot of people on Alter Ego have as well, but I just feel like they played the entire off season together and even like the end of last year all together, and I feel like you can definitely tell their synergy and egg noobs, egg bombs looking good.
Looking good.
Looking good. I suppose egg bombs looking good.
Yeah, they're strong. Gosh. All right, Dupes next. Any words on this matchup? Obviously, we're already pushing GT through in our bracket, but any words on this match specifically?
Yeah, Joey is playing defender. I know Bloodline is their extra and was in there in the mix. I know we were kind of talking about it in chat, but Roland is definitely attacker. Joey's on defender. Just want to get that clarified for the folks at home. I genuinely enjoy all of these individuals. Just to highlight somebody on AE that I think was having kind of an unfair breakdown of some of their play on Saturday. I think Relentless is ready to go. I because they've been grinding incredibly hard in the off season, so I want to give them a shout.
It's Relent on Alter Ego? Wasn't it Machisel?
Alter Ego.
Oh, I thought it was Machisel. Okay, my bad. We're good. Continue. I think I mixed it up.
Now I'm like stun locked. Did I like go in the time machine and start talking about Nemesis? I think I did. Yes, I did.
Alter Ego is JL, Kratos, Roland, Joey.
I went the time machine. I was looking at Nemesis, and I wanted to say that when we spoke to Nemesis.
I see. Okay, I gotcha.
Because they're matching up next. Just stun locked myself out trying to reach these rosters with old videos. Okay, I've got nothing to say. I'm guffing it all up anyway. So
it's okay. Well, I want you to start then on TTV Exile. So if people need reminders of players, TTV obviously just their big announcement. They're playing with Hitman, who's their newest addition into the top lane. Ender, Lutano, Otter, and Picadiff. And then Exile is Oblivion, Simp, Freak,
Neon Pure.
Neon and Pure. Yes, thank you. Oh gosh, I always forget those two. But yeah, that is the roundup for Exile. So Dupes next. Thoughts on TTV versus Exile?
Well, Exile did kind of show everybody up on their list, so you got to give tip of the cap to that.
Absolutely,
they definitely played incredibly strong. I'm not even sure they lost a game. I'd have to
they
go back
didn't.
And look.
Jesus.
I talked a little bit about it. I do think they had the easiest bracket of any of the teams coming out of winner's side, but
I don't think it was particularly close.
They looked really strong, but so it's tough. But
yeah, I don't think it was particularly close in terms of like difficulty. That doesn't take any. I mean, it's still a ton of rounds. They didn't drop a map.
Yeah.
They're not dropping a map's insane in at that big of a tournament, like 150 some teams. That's insane.
And then, TTV also, for all things considered, cruised as well. And that was with Hitman joining, in a relatively short turnaround. So credit to that. I didn't get to watch a lot of TTV's games from Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh,
oh no, we're not informed.
I
know.
Oh no. I'll give the nod to TTV here. Okay. Just from conversations I got to have with Ender after the event. But man, you have to give Exile their due. They crushed that event. They're the most convincing team to enter into the winner's side, right? It's hard to argue without dropping a map on a tournament that long. Even variance catches up to you at some point, and I hope for Exile, for their sake, it's not this weekend. But they were humming, right? You can't argue with that.
Yeah. Bridget, you want to talk about this matchup next, or do you want me to?
I can. I don't have anything groundbreaking. I pretty much just agree with Dupe Stacks, but
okay. So you're voting TTV as well, right?
I would for sure.
Okay. Oh man, it's so tough Whenever the way I like to do when I consider coin flip matches is I kind of go roll by roll, like roll v roll, as I like kind of move down the list. And I think Pure is so insanely set up well for this meta. Like when I think of Pure's best Pokemon, it's like Blastoise, Buzzwole. Like those are the two Pokemon that I think Pure like dominates the match on. And I'm like, dang, that's really good. And he's going up against a new addition on the team of Hitman. I'm like, that's gonna be really good for Exile. But yeah, I'm not too sure. Oblivion versus Otter is a really hype matchup too. Lutano versus Freak. Who gets Gardevoir in draft? Gonna be nuts. But yeah, I don't know. It's a toss-up, but I'm just gonna play the card and be like, oh, Pure's playing tank? Well, all right, well, there we go. I'm not too sure. Either way, we have decided that Exile is gonna be going down to losers and TTV is moving up. But yeah, that is a very, very tough match to call. TV versus Exile. So that means Exile goes down here. Exile. I know I did capital set, lowercase I. It's fine. Okay, let's Deuce, what match should we do next? Winners finals or one of the two losers quarters?
Let's sort out losers quarters so we know where our winners finals squaring off against.
Awesome. Let's do it. Exile versus LG. Dupes next.
Listen, given everything, it's so hard to vote against LG's track record. Like, even when they stumble, it always seems like the next tournament after a fall is just a destruction. Like, it's hard to watch sometimes, right? Like,
with how much they're rolling over people, you're saying?
Yeah, like, do you remember in March when they didn't get top 8 and then I think it was like the following April, they like destroyed everybody.
Yeah, they didn't win, but they did go insane, right? Because they or did they win? Was that Eos? It's tough to tell. Was it April? Were April and Eos separate things? No, I don't think so, right?
I don't remember.
Whatever. Yes, sorry to cut you off, Deuce Next, but continue.
But they had a great performance in the follow up, right? It was just tough.
Okay, so they dominated April. Yeah. That's when they picked up Rin. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just gonna have to go with LG here and let my previous biases influence my decision making.
Okay. This is I'm gonna vote on this one, Bridget, and I'm sorry.
Go for it.
I'm gonna vote Exile and make you the difference maker. Now, LG, the 2-time world champs, obviously their reputation goes so much farther ahead of them than I think any of us give them credit to. Exile, I have to just award them their flowers in this tournament. They went flawless through winners bracket, and we're already kind of predicting them a loss against TTV, which I'm not totally confident in. And with the way Exile's been playing, I don't know if they lose 2 in a row. That's basically the only thing that's in the back of my mind. Like, there's a part of me that just doesn't believe that team loses 2 in a row. And so I'm going to vote Exile. LG, on the other hand, has been shaky. They lost bad flip games, right? Like, they stumbled. There was miscommunication. Obviously, there's chinks in the armor. And Exile hasn't shown that in this tournament yet. I don't think they've been forced to. I don't think they've been really tested as hard as LG did. But LG got tested by a team called Rack, which almost no one knows about. So I'm voting Exile forward here. How about you, Bridget?
It is so hard to bet against LG.
Oh, it's so hard.
It's so hard. But I know, and like their reputation is like they bounce back, and they bounce back really, really hard.
Are we gonna predict LG to win this whole freaking tournament? Is that about what's about to happen?
But when they've bounced back, they have had more than a week to kind of get it together, so that makes me pretty nervous that they were talking about role swapping. Well, maybe we're not role swapping. Well, now we have to compete. Like,
nervous enough to not pick the 2-time world champs?
I don't know. I don't like this position. Like, selfishly, like, I want LG to win.
Sure, yeah.
But
selfishly, I don't want LG in this event.
Well, T. Yeah. I think I saw someone joking earlier that like LG's already on triple elimination
Oh,
for
yeah.
this bracket.
Yeah.
Like, true. But yeah, it obviously makes sense why they are here, but yeah, it is kind of just like, it reminds me so much of when like for Worlds when MJK got like picked up out of like the worst possible group and they were like, oh, go to the easy group.
Oh,
It'll be
Oisumi
fine.
Macro? Yeah.
Oh, Oisumi Macro, excuse me. Yeah.
I'll never
like,
forgive them for ruining my Entity 7 predictions. I'll never forgive them. But it's fine. Yeah.
That is like the first thing I thought of. I'm like, oh wow. But I mean, it makes sense. It obviously makes sense. I'm not saying they don't deserve it. It's just, I don't like having to pick. I really don't like being this tiebreaker. I think just selfishly I have to go with LG.
Okay.
Even though I really am not convinced.
Right. Can I just say something? Because obviously I just said like I don't want LG in this event or whatever. Can I just be very candid and honest with everybody at home? When I say that, it's not because I don't like anybody on LG. I was literally talking to Bridget. Bridget and Zoinks. I was literally stacking with Overlord the other night, goofing off. I have nothing against these individuals. But as a commentator and as a caster of this game, the better storyline for me to tell and for you all to experience at home throughout the course of this season is LG to not be in this event, have an awesome finish out of an unknown team, and then get to talk about the LG bounce back next month.
Yeah.
Now all of that is erased now.
Yeah. Well, they
now
could sorry, I keep interrupting you.
I was just gonna say now the story we have is being told on this cast right now, which is cool for this cast, for this podcast. But like, that's not a yarn we get to spin for Saturday, and that story's gone now. Like it just does it's not gonna materialize anymore. So again, as a caster who enjoys storytelling and finds wants to have the best stories to tell with the most interesting angles, LG not being there this weekend leads to the best stories possible, in my opinion. That's why I say that. I have nothing against these people. I have nothing against anybody on any of these teams.
Mm-hmm.
I try and like mentally fight for the stories, and then in this bracket, I freaking picked LG to win. So like, what are you guys getting gassed up about?
No, for real. I completely agree with you. And we all know no one's actually going to watch the whole episode and hear a new one. So just going to see this screen cap on Twitter and then come rage at me later. That's I would have to deal with that. But yeah, let it be known. I voted Exile. Okay, next losers bracket. We gotta speed this thing up, folks. I mean, it's gonna be. I'm totally comfortable with the long episode if the two of you are. But the next losers matchup is Alter Ego versus Nemesis. Now. Yeah, talk to me, Deuce next. What are you feeling?
That's the story, baby. That's ASU split into two, grinding out against each other. Mm-hmm. That's a story. That is fun. I am not voting on this one. You all can take it away.
You're not voting.
I don't like the making Bridget pick. Oh, we're
not. No. Then you pick right. Then you go now, and you make Zoinks be the tiebreaker.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, I don't know yet.
Okay. All right, I'll start talking about Alter Ego versus Nemesis. Yeah, so if we're talking about the kind of rematch that you were discussing, it's basically JL versus the old squad, right? Mm-hmm. Oops, sorry. We have JL and Kratos and Alter Ego who just played with some teams with Nemesis, but for the most part, it's JL who was on Amaterasu last year against Trainer and Yeet Fan and and of course Roland is on Alter Ego as well. So that's what it is. It's JL and Roland versus Trainer and Yeet Fan, which oh my gosh, it's so good. That is such a crazy good setup. So man, that's a tough matchup. I have had Nemesis ranked so incredibly highly in preseason rankings. I will admit some of those confident takes I had were shattered by Nemesis losing to a team called Only Trolls, who I watched on broadcast later and did not look like a caliber of team I really expected Nemesis to be tried by. So what I'm going to chalk it up to is Nemesis is going to be a Worlds contender caliber team, just not yet. I think Alter Ego takes this one. That's mine. That's my choice.
I vote with Bridget. Whatever Bridget says is where my vote's going.
All right, so okay. 2 votes wherever Bridget is. So technically still the decider.
Yeah,
I like
it. Yippee! The person who watched the least amount. Perfect.
Yeah.
I am definitely more inclined to Alter Ego. They've both like turned out really hard in the preseason, and obviously ASU was insane last year, so yeah, this is a toughie. But I think Alter Ego's just been like a notch, a little notch, tiny notch above more consistently. So, and they have a sick logo. Sorry, Nemesis, you guys didn't even upload a picture.
That's true. Logo diff. Nemesis goes down. AA moves on. Absolutely. We love Cloudbuster in this house. Okay.
Amen.
Alter Ego versus LG. I like that. All right, Doom Snacks. Then you have to decide then. Luminosity Gaming versus Alter Ego. If you're going to abstain from Alter Ego versus Nemesis, I need your opinion on Luminosity Gaming versus Alter Ego.
I go to the Church of JL. I'm going to say JL.
Okay, Alter Ego
Amen.
are the team. So, just to put this into context, Doom Snacks is saying that Team YouTube doesn't have what it takes to take down LG. Exile doesn't have to take down what it takes to take down LG, but you believe in Alter Ego to take down LG. I think that makes sense. Like, I think that tracks. They're definitely an extremely strong team. We obviously have Alter Ego ranked very highly. But okay, sick. I mean, Bridget, how about you? What are you feeling?
I think Doomsax believes in Sableye to take down LG.
Yeah,
but...
this is feeling like a very Sableye infected bracket. Notice that Doomsnacks abstained from the 2 Sableye players game.
Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah.
But yeah, maybe you guys are just persuading me very well, because I feel like I keep like defaulting to what the person said before me. But I was also, I did make another pyramid for the week, just kind of for my personal reference.
Okay, to put out later and be like, well, this is what I actually think, so if we get it wrong on the podcast, you're covered. I see you.
Obviously. But I was just like, well, I don't even know what the bracket's going to be, and then it totally wasn't what I thought it was going to be, so I was like, oh,
Yeah,
wow,
that's
I'm glad I didn't send this. So, but it's pretty much in line with what I was thinking anyway. So I have Alter Ego definitely doing better than LG. I just think I know LG is gonna be locked in. I know they're gonna be locked in, but Alter Ego's been locked in, you know.
Okay, I got you. I mean, I'm gonna be on board with y'all, because if I was gonna predict Exile to take down LG in the game before, I don't think I could really flip-flop that hard and have LG choice to take down Alter Ego. So, again, I'm just going to kind of stick with my gut in Alter Ego's kind of shaky waters. Yes, the comeback potential's there, and they could totally bust our bracket. I think any team in this top 8 has the caliber. YouTube and Fixed are both solid squads that we have seen. They could make a run through this bracket and be in the grand final, right? Coverage. Okay.
I said YT.
No, there you go. Insurance policies everywhere. All right, Bridget, then fine. You can begin on this one. Winners final, GT versus TTV.
Ooh. God, all these games are going to be so lit. I am so excited.
I know. Oh, it's so good.
And like TTV has such a new addition with Hitman. Like they have done a couple I've watched a couple tourneys with them, but I really haven't seen many TTV games, which I feel like that's usually like the team being streamed, but now everyone's, I feel like, big contenders. And GT's been so secretive, or like they haven't been doing a lot of tournaments, but then they show up to UCS and beat LG just off rip. Like,
they also had another like really good team in their bracket too. I forget, because they were seated quite low. And I forget who it was.
because of the CP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wrote down who. Oh, they beat E-Kittens.
Oh yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was one you were thinking, but that's what I
certainly a known quantity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Notable Sableye enjoyers, E-Kittens. So.
Of course they're known.
Doomsnacks has got him on the radar.
So
no, Gamma,
I think I'm going with GT.
Okay.
I'm riding on the GT train.
Okay. Sick. Doomsnacks. I'll be the decider on this one. So Doomsnacks, GT or TTV?
I'm trying to think of AO's Cup last year, and I kind of think TTV
Mm.
absolutely smurfed on GT in a way that was like unprecedented because that event kicked off with GT sending LG to the losers bracket,
Yeah.
and then they got
Oh wow, yeah.
buzzsawed. They got absolutely ranched by TTV, and
They beat
that
them in
weekend.
drafts, right? Like they
Mhm.
just found the good bands against Stockings, and then they counterpicked.
True.
They counterpicked like enemy centrals, and it wasn't particularly close.
So, and then like buzzsaw them, but then TTV went on to buzzsaw LG after they came back through the losers.
It's true. Black was not on GT at that time. That is a good point.
Facts. I suppose tough to root against. So I mean, all the whole GT squad is tough to root against.
I mean, both these teams are sick, right? Like
Yeah.
genuinely
Come
sick
on.
squads, but
I
do you want to defer until we talk about the Steve some more?
yeah, I'll defer to you.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
I can't.
We still have all of EU to get through, y'all. This is gonna be a long
Dude,
episode
Zach's,
tonight.
sitting in silence for like 10 minutes.
No, it's dramatic pausing. It's okay. It's okay.
And then I didn't even say anything, which is the worst part.
So good.
My gut says TTV wins these. That's strictly on gut though. I'm trying to think about it in roll swaps. Again, I favor OG extremely highly. Stockings versus Otter feels like a bit of a wash, but I think I like Otter's hero pool a little bit more. I feel like it just goes wider into like more weirdo stuff. But that could be just like me making that up. That's not like necessarily true, but it's just like what I instinctually think about. I think this is one of Black CH's best metas to play Central in. I really do.
Yeah, you did say that.
Oh, man. I guess I'm going to lean into it. I think this is GT's month. I'm going to lean into it. I'm going to push GT to Grants on my pick. Bridget.
Hell yeah.
You said GT. Okay,
yeah.
Well, Doomsex, you don't even really have to vote in this case, I suppose. We're sending TTV to losers, and GT is going to be having the bracket advantage in Grants. Which, by the way, we saw questions about that in chat. There is still going to be a bracket reset potential for Grants. Because it's still a double elimination bracket. There'd be no reason to take that out. So. All right, TTV versus Alter Ego. Oh man, this is a fun bracket because there's no repeats.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. Okay, Deep Snacks. I think it's the flow we do. If you don't answer the previous one, you gotta answer this one. So TTV or Alter Ego?
Lutano did say I'm going to be seeing Sableye this weekend.
AO? From who?
I don't know if it was from that. Well, it could be Ender support Sableye. Wait, what's more likely? Ender support Sableye or like JL score defer Sableye? Like which one's more likely? That's a tough call.
Probably JL.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Oh, Evercron's playing this year? That's cool. I didn't know that. Anyway, sorry.
What?
Let's have some fun and get some new blood in these grand finals. Let's get Alter Ego. And
let's go Kratos versus GT Grands. That's hype as hell.
Yeah.
But okay, all right, Bridget, Alter Ego versus TTV.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just like voting as a viewer at this point. Like I would just want to see a different matchup.
Okay,
than,
sure.
like, TTV
We
again,
definitely are the part of the bracket where it's so far down the hypothetical rabbit hole that we are voting with our hearts at this point.
Okay,
it is a little bit of
same
like,
page.
yeah. This is some spiritual choices rather than analytical ones at some point.
So
you're saying Alter Ego is your vote?
yeah. I had Alter Ego coming into this. I had Alter Ego like as my number 2 team, so it fits my vision.
Okay, sick. Gosh. That means we have Alter Ego going down to losers first round and then making it all the way back to Grands. That's actually so sick.
Yeah, it'd be
That's
fun.
actually so sick. Oh my goodness. I think I am like as on a knife's edge as you can be about that last one. I might slide a little bit the TTV way just because of a few players who I think might really show up. But I'm totally fine with this option. So, grand finals, I think this is fair if we just each individually pick a winner. So Bridget, Snacks,
Oh.
and Zoinks.
Jesus.
This is pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, Bridget, who are you picking to win? GT or Alter Ego?
I feel like I've said it this entire time.
GT?
I want GT.
All right.
I believe in GT.
Two Snacks?
Give me GT.
Yo.
T.
They need to have a win. Like they need one.
Last year their best performance was second, right?
Correct.
I think so.
Man. Rolling Centellion is so good, but I feel like there are definitely some gaps in their draft that could be exposed. I don't know if that's the same thing for GT. I think this is a banger grand finals, no matter how we spell it, but I'm not gonna. I feel like I need to be different.
Go with your heart.
All right. I'm sorry. I love GT. I really do. But if Alter Ego goes through all of this bracket, I just think that energy, you just can't stop it, you know? I'm letting Alter Ego in. Okay, there we go. We'll clip that later, or maybe I'll clip it right now. And we'll make this one. But okay, let me do this.